Of reasons, including what you suggested, Rahul, that I think West Bengal has a disproportionate importance in this election. Just look at where the BJP was, 4% of the votes and no seats in 2011, about 10% of the votes and 3 seats in 2016, or even less actually, in percentage terms, again, in single digits in 2016, and just 3 seats. So you're talking of a party which was single digits till 5 years ago. Then suddenly in 2019 wins 18 Lok Sabha seats and 40% of the vote. And now you've got the BJP in a situation possibly of actually becoming a contender for power and forming a government of their own. I don't think in politics of this country have we seen such a dramatic shift from being a completely marginal player to being a contender for power. Yes, Tripura, the BJP achieved a similar feat, but Tripura is much smaller. Bengal is a big prize. You know, you can win a major election in your first election, like Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi or NTR in Andhra Pradesh in the 80s. But to do what the BJP has done, if they achieve that, will be huge. And conversely, if Mamata Banerjee resists the BJP, she will show that she's a regional satrap. You know,
but that's not even in doubt. She is a regional satrap and a formidable player. But even if the BJP doesn't cross the finishing line, they would have still rewritten the political grammar of the state of West Bengal.
No doubt about that.
And set the base for what happens next time.
No doubt about that, Rahul. Absolutely no doubt about that. If the BJP crosses 100, it's a huge achievement. If they cross 147, then it's like, you know, winning the World Cup. The World Cup for the states. I mean, which state election has seen such a dramatic shift in recent times? I can't recall anyone. And therefore, I think that would be major, which is why there's a disproportionate importance, even though in every state what we are seeing is important for the state itself. I think Tamil Nadu is sui generis in a way. Kerala is critical, but it will be much more a victory for Vijayan if the left wins, and it's critical for the Congress. You know, we often ignore what this election means for the Congress. They have to win one of Kerala and Assam to stay alive in a way as an important national party.
But they've decided they won't be coming on any TV channels through the day today. Is that an indication in your sense that they know that they're really not in the fray? So therefore try and turn a necessity into a virtue?
Rahul, that's one way to look at it, necessity into a virtue. They've said that because of COVID, they don't want to come on national channels.
But just the day before, results came out in some Karnataka municipal elections which they were celebrating, just the day before that.
That's right. And I think you've got to separate the two issues. I think today the focus is on elections in the morning because 24/7 channels reflect the news as it happens. The news today, this morning, is who wins the elections. It doesn't mean that you turn your gaze off COVID, and whoever wins is going to have to focus on COVID. That's their big challenge. That's the governance challenge. So I think at times winning an election has to be separated from handling governance challenges. And the Congress has to recognize that distinction, I think, and accept it. And have a strategy that goes beyond saying we are going to boycott election coverage. Because that, to my mind, sends the wrong signal. What if today they pull off a surprise in Kerala? I'm sure that Kerala Congress will be out there on every Malayalam channel claiming victory. Similarly, Assam. If they win Assam, I'm sure on every Assamese channel, local Congress leaders will be out there claiming victory. They've worked very hard. You know, let's not minimize. Every regional party, every regional leader works very hard. And I think sitting in Delhi, we need to recognize that elections matter for these 5 state capitals today.
Absolutely, but the fact that you're choosing to stay away from television is also a reflection of the level of confidence in the camp about whether they have anything to talk about which is noteworthy to do with the elections. I want to go across to Manisha Priyam as she joins us this morning, one of India's foremost political theorists, and I want to focus on the impact that COVID could potentially have had on the election outcome. If you go phase by phase, according to the India Today Access My India exit poll data, the Bharatiya Janata Party has gained seat share in all phases up to the 6th phase in comparison with the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, except for phase 7 and 8, where they've actually slipped in comparison to their performance in 2019. And there is a sense in the BJP that their last surge was pushed back by the COVID virus, and if they had a little more chance, they would have been more comfortable. Do you at all think that once the COVID story started gaining traction, the BJP's election campaign would have taken a bit of a hit because of that? Or do you think it works both ways?
I do think that India's history, the world's history, will be seen in terms of the biggest human tragedy that our country has seen, which is the second round of COVID. This round of COVID has no comparison to the earlier rounds, the death, the tragedy, and human lives being snuffed out because of the inability to even get that very air that we breathe. So I'm not surprised that the National Party leaders, the BJP, have slipped up in the last two phases because the unfolding of the tragedy has been humongous. Now, I would like to also take this opportunity to iterate once again the themes that Rahul Kamal, you made at the opening about the significance of West Bengal. It's not just the fact about the left of center party, etc. I think if the BJP gains, this is history. Going back to the times of the partition of Bengal, at that time, it's the Congress that became the major player in that state, and the Hindu Mahasabha was marginalized. So I would say that for the BJP, it's that conventional fight that they've had with the Congress party for long innings. But however, they're entering the politics of West Bengal by standing by the side as the left ruled for 30 years and then followed by Mamta. This time around, if they are able to get to a 147, as Rajdeep said, then one would have to accept that even regional players cannot be a formidable challenge any longer to the BJP. Linguistic nationalism may also be a thing of the past. If the BJP were to cross even 100 seats, I would say that linguistic nationalism, that had been an axiom of modern politics in India, that would have to be set aside, and new moorings of state politics in India need to be understood if the BJP were to cross 100 in West Bengal.
Let's look at southern India, because in a way there are two and a half states, if I may be allowed to call Puducherry half a state as a union territory, that also are significant today.